Hello, everyone. I went on Twitter and I saw there was a lot of issue about Paul Enenche. I think the head pastor at Dunamis Church, and the fact that there was a lady who was doing testimony, and while that testimony was done, she did say I think she's the first in her whole family to have gotten a degree, a university degree, and she went through Open University. So she came out, of course, as people are doing testimony, to do testimony. And then when she said, she now said she read BSc Law. And I think at that moment was when Pastor Enenche would come up to her. According to the reports I'm reading, I've not seen any video, but according to the reports I'm reading, to call her liar and stuff like that, and all of that. And then the woman went on to break her silence. So let me just read from here what the Nation Nigeria newspaper is talking about. Here on Twitter, it's known on X, formerly known as Twitter, it's known as at the Nation News. It says, lady accused of false testimony by Pastor Enenche breaks silence. Anyim Vera, the lady who was accused of giving false testimony by the senior pastor of Dunamis International Gospel Center, Abuja, Paul Enenche, on Sunday, April 14, has broken her silence. On Sunday, April 14, Vera came to the altar to share her testimony of how God made her the only graduate in her family, adding that she graduated with a BSc in law from the National Open University of Nigeria. While giving her testimony, Pastor Enenche asked what degree she graduated with, and she said law. And he asked further what kind of law degree, and the lady answered BSc in law, after which he accused her of lying. Speaking via her Facebook page on Monday, April 15, Vera said she was disgraced and labeled a liar by her spiritual leader just because she couldn't speak English and mistakenly said BSc instead of LLB. She further stated that she graduated with a third class from National Open University of Nigeria. I hope it's National Open, but I think the Open University anyway of Nigeria, and was number 2262 on the list of graduates from the school. She wrote, it's disheartened because, okay, maybe she might say it's disheartening because I couldn't speak English like lawyers. I was labeled a liar for mistakenly saying BSc instead of LLB. Actually, I graduated with a third class at National Open University. The rejected stone can become the cornerstone. We are reminded not to look down on anyone. You can't imagine what I endured throughout the service, how shattered I must have felt to be disgraced by my spiritual leader in such a manner. I'm number 2262 on the list. I, Vera, deserve better now. In another post she wrote, the devil came to steal my testimony, but Jesus said no. A photo of her Facebook page suggests she's a policewoman as she was seen adorned in her uniform. So from this thing. So just looking at this whole issue, from what I've read, it's a whole lot. Of course, people were calling for Paul Enenche to do an apology, and there's a letter that Dunamis Church had put out. It's not really an apology per se. Let me even look for that, for that letter and read out the letter before I do my own discussion on what I think all of this it's all about. It says an official statement on Miss Anyim Veronica Nena's testimony. A scenario was created on Sunday the 4th. This is the church now. This is the message he wrote. A scenario was created on Sunday 14th April 2024 at the Glory Dome, the global headquarters of Dunamis International Gospel Center, when Miss Anyim Veronica Nena came out to testify of how God helped her graduate from the university, thus making her the first person to attain the feat in her family. These were the immediate triggers of the said scenario. First, listening to the testifier's expression as it borders on basic spoken English conveys the impression that the minimum standard expectation of a graduate, especially a graduate of law, was not met. Second, stating that she studied law for 10 years begged the question of what her degree actually was. Third, she was unable to state exactly what the correct degree was for law, which is LLB. Rather, she said it was BSc in law, which is largely unknown as a law degree in Nigeria and possibly globally. And then she said this prompted the senior pastor, Dr. Paul Enenche, to stop the testimony immediately as a product of a lie. However, relief came when it was later confirmed that she actually graduated from a university. It must be pointed out clearly here that embarrassing the testifier publicly with the attendant media frenzy was never intended. Whatever happened was under the spur of the moment. The action of the senior pastor was rather based on his and the church's aversion to seeming mediocrity and any appearance of untruth. While we remain resolute in our passion for excellence, our intolerance of mediocrity and falsehood, we wish to reiterate the fact that no harm or hurt was ever intended by the senior pastor against Mrs. Anyim. Veronica, the senior pastor, feels deeply concerned and had already reached out to her. As a commission, we regret every inconvenience, hurt, and embarrassment this unfortunate scenario has caused to Mrs. Anyim Veronica Nena. We remain committed to her physical welfare as well as her spiritual growth. God bless you us all. Sylvester Edu, signed by Sylvester Edu, personal assistant, secretary to the senior pastor. So for me, just trying to look at it as someone from different angle. First of all, let me start with the senior pastor in terms of how publicly he came out and denounced her a liar and all of that. One of the things is that as we attain status and prominence and sort of like power, we must be very careful and mindful in the way we do it. I mean, maybe years ago he could have publicly said that to someone when he was not the senior pastor of Dunamis. Nobody will really say anything about it. But because of you have so much influence, so much power, you all have to be a bit careful of wielding and using that power. So in terms of, there could have been way, he could have even made it a fun, say, okay, BSc, is it BSc? I thought it was LLB. Just try to, you might not come out outrightly because this is something that you don't know, except of course you've done your investigation, something had been done and you know that this woman is actually lying. That's when you come out publicly. And even at that, you really don't need to, because at the end of the day, you're big. A much junior pastor could have done that. It wouldn't have as much impact as it does have now. And so for that one, and for everybody to learn, there are certain things that, for me, like as right now, there are things that the way I would react on issues 10 years ago, I can't do it now, because now it's no longer the Aisha Yusufu that was before 2014. That was just my normal ordinary citizen doing my thing. Not now that there's a bit of influence attached to you, recognition. So you have to be careful so that you don't come out as if you're bullying someone or you're attacking someone or something. You just have to be careful because you now have a bit of prominence. It happens in life. So I think the pastor should exercise that more as he goes on. Then the other thing, also looking at it from the point of view of the pastor, is that probably they've had a lot of this kind of issues where people come with fake testimonies and maybe try to rip off the church or the people or something, or one way or the other. And so because of that, you get so angry when you begin to hear something. So the thing also here is to always be mindful of the fact that don't use another experience to react on another experience. I always try, for me, that's one of the things I'm very mindful of. I say, no matter what, whoever you're dealing with, deal with that person as if that's the first time. You don't bring your biases. So sometimes you're looking for confirmation bias. The moment she said BSc law, I knew she was lying. There's nothing like BSc law. Blah, 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 blah. I mean, like I saw on Twitter where somebody said he even thought she was lying when he heard BSc law until he went on Google to find out there's actually something called BSc law. I didn't even know that. I'm learning that for the first time now. So these are things, because the world is so full of so many things we don't know. So when you see something a bit off, first of all, go and do your own little bit of research. So he probably be coming from that angle. Hey, these people, he has come again, and then he jumps. So he needs to be a bit more careful on that whole scenario, and deal with people based on the fact that this is this person. Whatever lies other people have told or have done or whatever they've done, don't bring it to whoever it is that you're dealing with here. And for the woman, honestly, I really feel bad for her, in terms of you've spent so much time, you're giving this testimony, it's been hard. And like she said in her this thing, where she said, the devil tried to steal her testimony, but Jesus said no. It must be such a devastating moment for her. But I'm glad, all these are coming out. And there was outcry. People really did cry. The letter of the apology, yeah, in terms of they were beaten, just direct, we're sorry, we made mistake. It's much better than all of that story. But again, also, it borders down to the educational quality that we have in our country. It's not just her. I tell you, there are a lot of people that you see with their BScs, their degrees, second degrees. When they're speaking, you're thinking, where the heck did you go to school? How did you go to school? I mean, English is our lingua franca. What are you doing? How are you doing this? Some people can't even do a lot of basic things, but that's the problem we have with our educational system. And for me, I've always been an advocate of let people even learn in their mother tongue. This whole learning English, we should have schools that are designated to people being able to learn in their mother tongue. And there's those that want to do English as a secondary language, and stuff like that. But this whole thing, well, she said they've apologized to her. The lady put out pictures of them and her and those people. But at the end of the day, I think this is a learning curve for everyone involved. We must be very mindful. We should not, especially when it comes to accusation, don't accuse somebody like that publicly. Just be, no, take your time, calm down. That's just the first thing. Don't be in a rush to embarrass someone, you understand? Especially when you have this kind of influence and presence and all of that. It really doesn't speak very well. But hopefully this lady, she takes joy in what she has achieved. And hey, God works in a mysterious way. This might be her moment of getting a whole lot of things that she wouldn't have known she would have gotten before. But that's what I think about this whole thing. Thank you. Bye.